Welcome to the Offshore Club's fun-filled, fact-filled, fast-paced, blockbuster podcast, Coffee with Carib Carter, coming to you exclusively from where the sun never sets on the good life at a great price. And now, fill up your favorite coffee mug and join your expert and your guide, Carib Carter Clues.
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Coffee with Carib Carter. I trust you have your coffee. There we go. Let's do this thing. That's our motto. You can get one of those cups, by the way, from Walmart. They're not very expensive. Then we can drink coffee out of the same type cup and do this thing. And that's the bottom line. Let's do this thing. Let's move offshore. And I want to thank you for joining me week after week now. It's a pleasure. It is my pleasure. I hope it is yours too. Thank you for the emails, for the post you're putting on the Carib Carter Facebook page, starting to mount up. I appreciate it. And I appreciate your comments. That's how I learn from you, which is the most important. What I learn from you is the most important because it helps me provide you with the information you need to make your move, which is what this is all about. You're making your move to the good life, the good life, the good life at a great price. Somebody got our own slogan right here. The good life at a great price in Central America. I know you all enjoyed, speaking of Central America, Dan Taylor last week. What a guy, the mayor of Roatan. That's what I call Dan. And remember, when you watch him, super guy, and I'm sure you feel the same way now that you know him as well, like I do. He's going to be your neighbor when you move there. When you move to that wonderful, beautiful Paradise Island, you have a friend there already. And that's what this program, that's what your Offshore Club is all about, offshore.club. That's what Coffee with Carib Carter is all about. You feeling comfortable to make the move so that you have new friends there. Roatan is, as Dan pointed out, it's a little more expensive than the mainland Honduras. I remember when I lived there and I said, it's a little more expensive here. He said, what's because everything has to be brought in. He said, Carter, always think of it this way. If you didn't bring it, it ain't here. Okay. So I always say that we always say that Central America is a good life at a great price. The Roatan is kind of like the great life at a still very, very good price. Okay. So perfect place to move to. The Corn Island in Nicaragua, the same way. A lot of those wonderful islands down there. Ambergris, which I can never pronounce correctly, and Belize. Check them out, but also the mainland. I'm not an island person because I'm not a water person. I know you're saying, wait a second. You lived in the Caribbean for a year and a half, and you're moving back again. You're not. I like the mountains, the rainforest, the beauty of the land and the people. And speaking of the people, that's where I want to start today. Because I think it's important. We always start out with a day in the life where I tell you what it was really like to live there and what it's going to be really like for you to live there. Because I think that's important. I never want it to be one of these TripAdvisor things where somebody is a offshore writer, international writer, and you say, well, you ever been there? And they say, well, no, but I've read a lot. Well, I've been there, and that's what I want you to know and to hear and to see for yourself. And that's why we have this segment of Coffee with Carib Carter called A Day in the Life. And this time I want to share something with you. Some was very funny. I've told you about the geckos, about the chicken bus, etc. This one is a little near to home, a little more maybe poignant. Let me tell you about, when I lived there, I met a guy at the mall in La Ceiba, okay? La Ceiba city, about beachfront city, about 100,000 people. I think you'd love living there. It's very, very nice. Still very, very old-fashioned, but very nice, very nice. And I think safe. I walk the streets all the time there. But the mall is very modern, and I would go there just to use the internet, free Wi-Fi, and go to Dunkin' Donuts there. And the met a fella came walking up and said, in a very heavy Honduran accent, "Are you from the United States?" I said, "Yeah, I am." He said, "My name is Cobra. I live in the United States 15 years." And so we got to know each other. I got to know Cobra. He's a wonderful guy, wonderful guy. He was the head of security at the mall. And so almost every day when I go, Cobra and I would talk. And one day he said to me, "You need to meet my cousin. He's a very nice girl." I said, "Well, I'd be more than happy to meet your cousin. Where is she?" "Oh, he's not here. He's in San Pedro Sula." So I said, "All right, well, I'm going to San Pedro Sula in a couple of weeks. And so maybe I can meet her and we can have a chance to grab coffee together or whatever." And I'm telling you this because I want to give you insights. I've told you about places. I want to give you insights into people too, okay? I want to give you insights into people because the people are even more important than the places. And when you get to know the people, I think you're going to say, "I want to be around those people." So I go to San Pedro Sula, maybe a month or so later. I'm at the Princess Hotel at a meeting, and this young lady walks in, very nicely dressed, little white blouse, a pair of dark slacks. And she doesn't speak any English at all. Introduces herself and says that she is the cousin, prima de Cobra. I said, "Oh, that's great. That's great. It's very, very nice to meet you. It's really my pleasure." Um, and my business meeting ended, and so we sat and talked. And I was just very impressed with her. Very, very classy young lady, and clearly had a dream of one day going to America. And so I got to know her. I got to know her better. I actually had to move back home to do work for the Washington Times. But I would go back, and every time I went back, I'd make it a point to visit with her, okay? And I got to know her very well, and I came to admire her tremendously. And I realized she represented very much what a lot of the people in Central America are. And one of the reasons I encourage you to not just to make the move, but to look forward to making the move, because they're the kind of people that I think you want to get to know. I learned over time that first time she met me, and she was very reserved and very, very classy. She had one apple to eat in the past 3 days. These are very poor countries. And as I got to know her more and I learned her background, had you seen the home that she was raised in with her 8 little brothers and sisters? It looked like what in this country would be kind of a rundown one room, if you call it, I don't know what a chicken coop. Okay? Dirt floor. She said when it rained that her little sisters and brothers and her would sleep cuddled up next to each other in the mud. At times they were so poor, like if a hurricane came through at one point, and then they had to live for a while under an old beach umbrella. That's the kind of life, and that I wish I could say, but hers is a strange case, but it's not. She couldn't afford to go to school until she got old enough to scrub floors for 14 hours a day at the mall in San Pedro Sula for 25 cents an hour and pay her own way through school, essentially teaching herself to read and write, and helping to take care of her brothers and sisters on that little bit. And I was just stunned at the resilience. And when she was telling me these things, it wasn't complaining and saying, "Woe is me." It was just, this is the life that we live. And I grew more and more to admire the resilience, the courage, the kindness, the goodness of heart. And eventually, as some of you might have already guessed by now, I married that young lady. Some of you who are regular viewers have seen Angelita on the screen. We were talking about baleadas. I promise we still will. She will make baleadas and show you how to do it. So obviously, we've been married 3.5 years. And my admiration has just deepened. And it's deepened not only for her, but for her fellow countrymen, because her story is not unusual, and neither is she as a person. All right, she has a little more drive than most people, obviously, a lot more drive. She made it to America from being raised in the dirt to America, coming to America, okay, made her dream come true. But that resilience, that spirit, that essential goodness, that commitment, that work ethic, it's just part and parcel of who these people are, who every week I encourage you to make the move to be part of. I'm going to say it in a way, it reminds me of when I was a kid in this country. Back, yeah, the 50s. Yeah, I saw my sister last night. I was with my sister. She showed me a picture of me in my dad's 1955 Chevy. It's a long time. So the work ethic, the basic goodness and decency, what we had here, they still have there. Okay, as evidenced by that story I just told you. She and her little sisters and brothers working their way up literally from the ground floor, okay? And so that's why I keep encouraging you to go be part of this, be part of these people. There's no privileged life down there. There's nobody, born to privilege who lived on, mommy and daddy took care of them or the government handouts took care of them. No. The essence, the essential, solid core that once made America so great is still there, okay? And for those of you, most of you are going to be my age, but even 20 years younger who still have memories of it, you don't have to live on those memories. You can relive it anew with that new life. And when you, as I've said before, as Tennyson said, seek a newer world in Central America. Okay, so that's my day in the life, and that's pretty good. So it's been 3.5 years in the life now in this particular case. And one day she will come on and show you how to make the baleada. She's promised me that. So that's a day in the life. So let's do this thing. Let's do this thing. And now that you have that vignette, now let's talk about the next move, next part of the show. As always, is your questions to me. One of the questions I got last week was, it's funny how questions seem to run in cycles, right? And the question I got last week is, it is a good question. Do I have to speak Spanish to live in Central America? Okay. Okay, so let me give you the answer. It's a little more complex than yes or no. Okay. I would say, first, let me put it this way. They ain't speaking English. Okay. They're in Central America, there is no press one for English. All right. They speak Spanish. That's their language. They're proud of their language. And, but they're also very, very tolerant of the fact that most gringos, that's us, don't speak it. And in my travels there, and you know how bad I am at Spanish now, and even after years of practicing it. But when I first went there, it was, I think my entire Spanish was "Donde está el baño?" Where's the bathroom? Okay, which you should memorize if you go. "Donde está el baño?" Where's the bathroom? That's a good one to know. And that was about the extent of it. I remember one time I needed to buy a friend some cream sherry, right? And so I went to a liquor store in Honduras, and I went up and I kept asking the guy for queso sharif, queso, botella queso sharif. And he kept looking at me like, no entiendo. I said, yeah, bottle queso sharif, right? I was saying cream sherry. I need cream sherry, and I kept saying it. Finally, somebody spoke up, and this will happen to you over and over. There's always somebody nearby who speaks a little English, at least, a Latino. And he said, well, what are you trying to order? I said, cream sherry. He said, well, I don't know what sharif is, but when you think you're saying cream, you're actually saying cheese. Cheese sharif. I don't know. I guess I probably thought the poor Honduran probably that I was trying to order from probably thought it was a brother or sister, Omar Sharif or something. And the gentleman said, "Sir, it's Harith, Hareth, Heres Cremosa is what you're really Cremosa is what you're really trying to order." So I tell you that story because number one, do you have to speak? No, but they're not going to be speaking English to you probably, okay? And the menus are not bilingual, okay? When you get on the bus, it's not going to be bilingual. So memorize, the name of the area where you're going and make sure you can read it up there. Make sure you get on the right bus. And you can give the name of the place where you're going to the bus driver. And they're very nice. They're going to shout back and tell you, "Hey, amigo, a key, here." That's it. Open the door, off you go. And also invariably, you're going to find someone in almost every store you go into as you're walking down the street. In restaurants, you're going to find someone who speaks at least enough English, and you're not going to find a lot of fluent people. I'm just telling you right now, you're not. I mean, look, the president of Honduras doesn't speak a damn word of English, as near as I can tell. So you're not going to find people who are just babbling on in English, but you are going to find people who speak enough of the language to help you out and will be very, very kind and generous in doing so when you get to these Central American countries. And with the way the behavior of the people in Honduras, you're going to find it's the same in Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua. It's a generous spirit, okay? So, and that I promise you. So I've given you 2 examples of that now. And that brings us to the Mad Max report. Now, this is the section where I've told you now some of the reasons why you want to go there, move there. And I'm going to tell you, the positive, the happy talk about when you arrive there. Let me tell you something about why I think you better, I think you need to really consider expediting the move. Okay. I'm going to ask you, I do a show called Washington Expose, and it's political. I'm not even recommending it to most of you. If you're real conservative, you'd enjoy it. I do it with 2 longtime politicos. Most of you know I worked in Washington in the bowels of politics for 40 years plus. And I did with 2 other Washington political operatives. So it's pretty hard hitting. But we interviewed on the show this past week, we interviewed a gentleman named Ambassador William Middendorf. Okay. I'm telling you all this because it's going to help you understand that when I say to you, you need to think about expediting your move. Okay. You're going to understand why. Ambassador Middendorf was former ambassador to the European Union, the Organization of American States, former Secretary of the Navy, 96 years old, still sharp as he can be. What he had to say about where China is today, vis-a-vis where the United States is, and where we could be heading, is pretty alarming, and it's going to help you to understand. Maybe it is time to not have to be part of a cataclysm, okay? Rather my talk it to death. Super producer Brian, can you run the piece I did? What I did was after the show, I was so shocked that I did a short piece. It's not that short, it's 7 minutes on Carib Carter Facebook page, which some of you already saw. So when you see it, it's going to be familiar. If you haven't, I think you're going to find this pretty interesting, where I tell you what the Ambassador Middendorf told us in that incredible, he was incredible interview. Can you run that for us, super producer Brian?
We'll do it. And you're right. Just an unbelievable analysis and commentary by an extraordinary man. I'll run it right now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead. Wow. I think you, like me, are saying, wow, on several fronts. The fact that this 96-year-old man wrote that incredible book and what he shared with us. And I want to, something that's not in what I just told you, but is in the interview we did with him for Washington Expose. And this you really need, I want you to inculcate this, okay? I want you to inculcate it, because to me, it's very revealing, and it's going to help you understand you don't want to be around for some of this stuff coming down the pipe. We asked him about artificial intelligence, okay? AI, artificial intelligence. And first of all, in the book, he quotes Putin as saying, whoever dominates artificial intelligence is going to rule the world. China is dominating artificial intelligence, okay? Their Project 2030 is to totally dominate not just automatic artificial intelligence, which we see a lot of already on the internet now, but autonomous artificial intelligence. What that means is, well, I can put it for you very simply. For those of you who are movie fans, we're talking Terminator, okay? We're talking the Terminator in the hands of what I still call the Red Chinese, okay? Who in their China 2025 have said they're out to rule the world, okay? And where's the United States? Well, let's see. Google has already told the Biden administration, or they told the Trump administration at the end when they knew he was going out, we're not helping America with the artificial intelligence at all. We don't care. We don't care. Because they're citizens of the world, so they say. And even though they all were born, raised here, made their living here, made their fortune here, they don't care. China is in control of its developers of artificial intelligence, okay? So it's going to dominate. Just be prepared for it. When that happens, I asked the Ambassador Middendorf about it. He said, Carter, you remember the Cuban Missile Crisis, which I do, 1962, I think October 62. And he said Kennedy had 13 days to face down the Russians. He said, if China dominates artificial intelligence, America's not going to have 13 seconds. Okay, 13 seconds. So that's why I'm saying, don't get tied to the idea. Don't defend the indefensible. Let me just say it. Don't defend it. If a country doesn't want to defend itself, don't you sacrifice everything to defend it. And I'm saying this as someone who loves this country. My blood runs wet, red, white, and blue, but enough's enough. Okay, enough's enough. The technology transfer, Biden is what Trump stopped, Biden has begun allowing again. Biden, Harris. I don't care if you voted for Biden, if you love Biden, okay, that's fine. I'm not saying who you should vote for. I'm just saying be aware of what's going on. And don't be the last to leave. I keep saying that. And, I looked up, I want to mention a name to you, and then we'll be done with Mad Max, I promise. I want to mention a name to you, Colonel Archibald Gracie, okay? There may be 1 in a million out there right now who are saying, oh, yeah, well, who he was the last survivor off the Titanic, okay? Picked up in the water, the last survivor. He did not even get on a lifeboat because he said women and children first. And he was on the ship when it went down. Fortunately, as his name applies, Colonel Archie was a naval man, and he said, miraculously, I dove at exactly the right time and escaped. Last survivor picked up. But let me read you something. It's not long, but it's revealing. And it's why I keep saying to you, don't be deceived into thinking everything's going to be all right. Archibald Gracie said in his interview, when the vessel struck the iceberg, the passengers were so little alarmed that they joked over the matter. The few that appeared on deck early had taken their time to dress properly, and there was not the slightest indication of panic. Some of the fragments of ice had fallen on the deck, and these were picked up and passed around by some of the facetious ones who offered them as mementos of the occasion. A few minutes later, the officers ordered men and women to don the life jackets. I'm suggesting you don the life jacket. Okay, I'm just going to be frank with you. Okay, I am, and do it now. Let me conclude with this. You know, I felt when Donald Trump was president, I felt we were in a race against time in this country, and we're in serious danger. I'm leveling with you as a friend now. You're part of the Carib Carter cadre, as we call it. So I'm leveling with you as a friend. That when Trump was president, I felt like we were in a race against time and we're in serious danger. I think now, with Biden-Harris as president, we're in mortal jeopardy, and time is running out. Period. Okay. So, you know, whatever money you have, I just watched an interview with Ray Dalio, $15 billion hedge fund, and he said by the end of this year the inflation is going to go through the ceiling. Don't let them dissolve your money. Don't let them before you take it elsewhere. Okay, just okay. So enough of that. All right, let's move back to happy talk. Let's get back to enjoying coffee with Carib Carter, and away from the bad news element. Now, enough's enough. Okay. $1,000 listing Caribbean. This is my Ryan Serhant $1 million listing New York. Well, we have $1,000 listing Caribbean. What I want to do, I always tell you, first of all, I'm going to tell you the same thing because I care about you. I don't make any money off this. Vivion.com, VIVIUN.com. Go there, type in the country you want to look at in the upper right-hand corner, and just type it in and click, and it's going to take you to the country with the incredible listings, some at prices you can't believe. Some of the prices we've gone over, haven't we? The $36,000 two-bedroom home on the beach in La Ceiba, I think was last week we talked about that, or maybe that was the week before. Last week we talked about the great deal on the jewelry store on Roatan Island. I get these weeks mixed up. I think it's part of the age thing here, but the nonetheless, they're all there. You can go back and review them because every week I present to you an incredible deal. Vivion.com. Go there. But also, here's something else I want you to do this coming week, this coming Tuesday, March 30th. I want you to watch the webinar. ECI Development's doing a webinar on their cozy homes in Panama. Okay. And remember, I keep telling you the good life at a great price. Okay. The webinar this coming Tuesday at 5:00 is, and I those of you on the list, I sent you a letter about it. You know, it looked like this. Matter of fact, I've sent you 2 letters that look like this. And as I talk about this, Brian's going to show you some pictures of these cozy homes we're talking about. Mike Cobb, whom you know, if you get the Gazette, which you do, you're probably watching this in the Offshore Club Gazette. Mike is on every Friday and talks to you. He is the owner of 4 resorts throughout Central America, which he can give you good prices on. Matter of fact, not good, great prices on, incredible prices on. And then he's one of the hosts of the webinar. The others, Rachel Jensen, and on, I think it's Wednesday or Thursday, you see Roving with Rachel. She's the young single executive, very successful. Tells those of you who are young what it's like to be a single person living in, I think she lives in Belize. Great show. By the way, her show on her vlog, her podcast, video podcast is excellent. But this, they're going to tell you about how you can get one of these cozy homes, right? And, I showed you, Brian's going to put up the pictures. I showed you, look, I can do this myself, some of it. Look at that. I mean, that's beautiful. And here, the inside, these are, to me, they're almost luxury homes. About maybe I call them cozy homes because the interior is about 700 to 800 square feet. Okay, but don't be put off by that. Those of you who have your own home already know that's not that small, but very, very well built. So everything is accommodating. That's a good word for it, and in a way spacious. Okay, if you space things right, everything's cabinets built and everything. 700 to 800 square feet, maybe a little over. Very accommodating. But here's what I want you to think about, and I think I've mentioned this in the past. When you're living in a Caribbean country, and these cozy homes are going to show you are in the Grand Highlands in Panama. Okay, it's called Freedom Village, what Mike has built. Beautiful community, beautiful community. In Boquete, Panama, which is really part of one of my favorite parts of Panama. I mentioned I'm not a beach person. Boquete is up in the mountains, so in the evening it's cool. Okay, during the day it's 80 degrees, 70, 80 degrees or so. So it's very, very pleasant place to live. Very pleasant. You're surrounded by greenery. You're surrounded by the crystal clear creeks, bubbling streams, rich communal orchards and gardens, fresh fruit and vegetables, 270-degree view of the mountains. Okay, so this beautiful area. And don't be at all put off by saying, 800 square feet is not that big. It is that big because really, when you live in a Caribbean country, you also, don't forget, you have the veranda, and in these you have the roof, the roof balcony, or they're not called balconies, the roof. I don't know what, there's a name for it that I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about. You have your picnic table, everything on the roof. You're really looking at more like 1,200 to 1,400 square feet of living space, okay? Because when you're in a Caribbean country, and I think, and this is something I had to learn when I first moved to Honduras, and I saw people had their furniture out on their veranda, right? It's like a veranda on the roof, I guess what it is. But at first I was questioning it, I'm thinking, wow, I wonder if they take all that in the winter. I realized there's no winter. There is no winter. So you live as much outside as you do inside. You really, really do. Okay. And so when you're talking about, when you get the veranda, the balconies, the porches on these cozy homes, you're really talking about a 1,200 to 1,400 square feet living area, and just the most beautiful and accommodating environment you could possibly imagine. Okay. So watch for the webinar. You can, if you go to offshore.club, it's going to lay out all the details for you, how to tune in on it. It's 5 o'clock Tuesday, March 30th. Don't miss that. The price, we call this $1,000 home Caribbean, $1,000 home Caribbean. I think the price you're going to pay is about, first let me say, if you saw this home in this nice of an area in the United States, you may be paying $250,000 to $300,000 easily. When you see these pictures, Brian's going to show you. Down there, your total price is about under $130,000. That's what I said, under $130,000. It literally is a no-brainer. Plus, you're living where their taxes are almost nil. Government is not coming in with its thumb down on you all the time. You feel free. You're safe. You're living a laid-back life. Okay, string your balcony between two nearby trees. Get your margarita and relax, because that's what the Caribbean life is all about. And now you'll own it. You'll own it for under $130,000. So that is your $1,000 real estate report. Very, very, very good. Very, very nice. And it's yours for the asking. It's right there. All right. It's right there. So go for that. Let me get rid of my papers here that I've strewn all over the place to tell you about this great deal. And I urge you to do it. At least come in and look at it. At least come in and look at it. Then you can make your own decision. Okay. Then you make your own decision. And I have a feeling for a lot of you, it's going to be at the very least a tough decision. For some of you, it's going to be an easy decision. It's going to be a tough decision to say no. For some of you, it's going to be an easy decision to say yes, because it is that good. All right. The friends and family, instead of interviewing someone this week like we did Dan last week, I want to pitch to you that next week we're going to interview somebody you're going to find fascinating. A guy named Joel Nagel. Joel is the country's leading assets protection attorney. Okay. Good friend of mine, a wonderful guy. And Joel's going to tell you from a strictly financial standpoint why you should get at least your assets, maybe your butts offshore now, chapter and verse. And not only that you may why you should, but how to do it in a way that protects you, tells you how to do it, get your funds off safely, and how your tax advantages from doing it. Okay. Very important to a lot of you. I know your tax advantages to doing it. Joel knows all of that chapter and verse. He's number one. He's number one in the country for offshore asset protection. And he's going to be with us next week. You're going to enjoy him. He's a great guy. I think he's a father of 7, just a family man like many of you. So look forward to that next week. We'll have Joel with us. And, you know, with the inflation coming, with the taxes coming, I'm predicting, I've told you this, I'm predicting within 2 years, 75% of what you make is going to taxes in this country. Easily. If you have any doubt, just remember, did you all see the news story that of Biden sitting talking with Buttigieg, his Secretary of Transportation? But they're moving forward now with a tax per mile when you drive. What'd you say, Carter? A what? I said on top of the skyrocketing gasoline taxes, thanks to Biden shutting down the Keystone, a tax per mile, every mile you drive, all of which will be government monitored with GPS. Okay, remember you're already just had $60 million tax increase in the COVID relief bill. It's not doesn't sound like relief to me. $60 billion tax increase, $93 trillion they're going to spend, all of which has to be made up in taxes on the new Green Deal. So 75% taxes easily come in. Inflation. Ray Dalio just did an interview March 19th, Bloomberg TV, saying by the end of this year, I just mentioned to you, part of that bad economy coming is going to be skyrocketing inflation, which Powell, the head of the Fed, slipped and admitted to 2 weeks ago. So I think this discussion next week of asset protection is very important. It's very important. Again, make your move now, because the senator from Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren, has already introduced a bill to have a 40% confiscatory tax on any wealth you have if you try to move offshore. It's not passed yet. It's not going to pass for a while. But we have to be prepared. Okay. We always have to be prepared. So next week, great interview. And now, finally, on a very upbeat note, because I know there's been some downer stuff here today, a little bit of downer stuff, but sometimes we need that. I have on my camo. See, I have on my camo here. Maybe that's why I was a little combative today. But I want to end on a very positive note, and I have a 2-minute and 45-second video that I want you to watch. Okay, it's by one of my favorite people, one of the most positive people on the face of the earth. I love the guy. And some of you, when I say his name, you say, "Oh yeah, he's the world's leading authority on social media." Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. And this piece, which I'm going to ask our super producer to run for us, it's only 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So please bear with me, stay with me, and watch it. Essentially, it's called One Life, One Time, No Regrets. No regrets. Okay? So, Brian, can you run that one for us? And you're going to love this, folks. You're going to love it. Okay? A little bit raw language, but you're going to love it.
The biggest poison in us is regret. It's poison. And I push so hard, and will, through my vehicle, which isn't meditation, which isn't health and wellness, which isn't nonprofit. My vehicle's business. I can't help it. It's what I love. I love building businesses. I love competing with you. I want to beat you. I love that game. But through that vehicle, I will always push a lack of regret and awareness to how good it really is. You're more than welcome to tell me about how bad it is or why you can't, because or what, but it's just not true. Because if anybody ever did it, then you can too. Stop making excuses. Stop complaining. Nobody's listening. They may pretend they're listening. The market doesn't care. What you need to do is make one person happy, you. Then you can make everybody else happy. You know why I like making people happy? Because I'm already happy. And so I implore you to take this last little rant and really look at your fucking face and understand, are you doing the things that are putting you in a position to succeed? Not just in a business world, but in life. Because it's super important, because boy, when you're happy in life, your fucking business can roll. And so I'm just trying to figure it out. And I've been trying to figure it out in front of you for the last 7-8 years, trying to figure out the unlocks, EQ, IQ, self-awareness, hustle. I don't know what they are. You know why? Because like I told my man, it's 330 different unlocks. And so I'll go to all of them. They're all tried and true. And one might hit you. Yeah, it was hard work because I'm actually lazy. I talk a good game, but I'm full of shit. Or it might be something else, but fuck, one. And so, you decided to sit? You're into this, right? It's good, right? This is some good shit. You're gonna remember this?
I did.
Good. One fucking life. One life, my friends, one time. And honestly, I'll leave you with this because a lot of you need it. How you make your money is more important than how much you make.
Wow. Great message. Great message. Just a great message. I love it when he says, the biggest poison in us is regrets. Okay? That's in essence what Coffee with Carib Carter is all about. That's why, let's do this thing, because I don't want you to ever have any regrets. I want you to realize that the only regret you're ever going to have, I promise you, if you do this thing, the only regret you're ever going to have if you make your move offshore is that you didn't do it sooner. Okay? That you didn't do it sooner. I promise you that. I promise you that. Okay? And don't forget now, because you're part of the Offshore Club, you're going to have lots of friends there. And hopefully you'll soon be bringing family too. So that's it. That is it for today. I appreciate your being with me. I appreciate your emails. Please keep them coming. Put your comments on Carib Carter Facebook page. And as I close out every show saying, yeah, let me get this in the right spot. Let's do this thing.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us at the Offshore Club. For more information on the Offshore Club or to contact Carib Carter, visit www.offshore.club today. www.offshore.club. That's www.offshore.club. See you next time at the Offshore Club.